Kendrick's pop-out show marked the conclusion of one of the biggest moments in recent hip-hop history. Artists from all over Cali, NBA players, shit, LeBron himself, the whole West Coast popped out. He had gang members from half the sets in the city up there taking flicks together. Shit was a moment. A lot of the conversation around this whole beef has been centered around the quote-unquote culture and both of these artists and how they're connected to it. Drake questioned Kendrick's ties to where he came from and how much he actually cares about them, while Kendrick questioned Drake's background and his intentions with the way he uses the black community. It's weird, because here you have a guy who's widely loved and respected, particularly in one of the most violent hoods and towns in America, and his last album was about therapy and mental health, topics that are heavily rejected in the black community. If you don't agree with that statement, then go bring up topics like therapy in the hood. Watch how crazy they're gonna look at you. A lot of black people, especially black parents from the last generation, are heavily against the idea of speaking up about their issues and being introspective about shit they've done wrong. Mr. Morale was about recognizing how your trauma impacts your life in negative ways. To Pimp a Butterfly pointed out behaviors in the black community that drag us backwards. All of that over jazz instrumentals and funk beats. He doesn't make stereotypical hood gangbanging trap music, yet the hood love him. On the other hand, you have a guy who literally crafted a hood nigga persona. Wayne even warned him against it back when he was still mostly Loverboy Drake, but nope. He just couldn't resist it, and within less than a decade, he was yapping about sliding through blocks, toting sticks, shooting at niggas like, what are we doing here, bro? You got a guy like Braun. Drake has been sucking his dick for over a decade, literally got a song dedicated to him and everything, and LeBron still rocked with Kendrick in his beef. Authenticity matters. Nobody cares if you're a fraud until you stand next to somebody that's not a fraud and you try to call them one. He pulled up to Compton for a music video, seen some guns, got scared, and literally ran off. They had to chase his ass down and bring him back to finish the video. And he got the nerve to question the credibility of somebody else in that city. Come on, bro, be serious. Drake attempting to claim that Kenny not from the hood for real is absurd. You know it's ridiculous because half the people Drake tried to use against Kendrick sided with Kendrick and pulled up to the show. SZA got you wiped down and she went to the pop-out. You know who really banging set? My nigga YG, and he performed at the pop-out. It's so wild to me that Drake thought it was a sensible move to try to use the people from Kendrick's own city against him. Like, what the fuck was the logic behind that? I think Drake fell into the trap of assuming that Kendrick wasn't as respected or loved where he was from because his music was more quote-unquote political than generically gangsta rap music. Kendrick doesn't make standard hood and trap music. As a matter of fact, the majority of his music talks about trying to get out of that life or tells stories about people who were negatively affected by the quote-unquote hood lifestyle. That resonates with the people he grew up with, the people in the city where he's from, and the people in cities similar to those, because they've lived through shit like that, and they know it's either one, out of necessity, or two, not the most ideal lifestyle. It may seem ironic that the guy who seems to talk down on the hood somewhat gets more love from the hood, but a lot of us who grew up in the hood are very aware that that's not where we want to be. People seem to think that the problem everybody has with Drake is that he's pretending to be black, but that's not really the case. Drake has a black father. We're aware of that. That's not the main problem. It's the fact that he's pretending to live a lifestyle that he never lived for monetary gain. Obviously, it's going to be annoying to people who actually have struggled when the guy who's been well off almost his whole life decides to pretend he's a gangbanger in his 30s so he could look cool. It makes his music sound kind of goofy. It's not a coincidence that I personally started growing a distaste for his music the more and more he leaned into that, grr, I'm big bad gangster man. That's why when he steps to Kendrick now and starts chatting about some you not about it for real, everybody's kind of just like, nigga, are you serious? He does all this shit to seem like this big super thug guy, and it's just corny as fuck. He bought Pharrell's jewelry that Pharrell sold and then started talking about some come get your chains as if he snatched them or something. He sold them shits, bro. He ain't even want them in the first place. That was such a Drake thing to do, though. Use money to make himself look hard, and it's just day room, bro. I'm always going to go back to the quote-unquote rapping like you're trying to get the slaves free line because it told us so much about Drake and his mindset. Yes, Kendrick raps about not only black liberation, but black people freeing themselves from backwards mindsets and trying to improve ourselves as people. Drake, somebody who cosplays the quote-unquote hood guy, doesn't grasp this because he loves playing the hood role and views it as a fun little persona instead of an actual life that people are forced to live. He's going, haha, you rapping like you're trying to improve these niggas' lives, and it was an absurd swing and a miss because, yeah, that's exactly what he's trying to do while also donating hundreds of thousands to Compton and holding all types of events that actively improve life for people there.
A lot of niggas don't know that Kendrick done paid for homies' funerals, put money on homies' books. I'm on his album cover, To Pimp a Butterfly.
He was
walking up
recently
and
at the
down them
park.
blocks.
Like, I ain't gonna cap, when he did a little toy drive, he was at the park.
He do a toy
You know what I'm
drive every
saying?
year.
On me.
I'll never get over how stupid that line was. I'm sorry. The pop-out show was the last nail in the coffin. It was Kendrick's way of laughing at Drake for genuinely suggesting that he was somehow more authentic than him when it came to his connection to the people. I'm sorry, but I don't think Drake can create a moment like this. People from his city, people that he's been close to for years, legends in the rap game, legends across entertainment industries in the same spot as childhood friends, some that are still gangbangers, still wearing their flags, still repping their shit on stage in front of millions. I can't see it happening. That's partially Drake's own fault too. He's done weird shit to so many people in the industry that he's lost most of those old friends he made along the way. Some people have tried to spin this and make it about Kendrick promoting gang violence and having a negative impact, but y'all forgetting that gangs aren't all about violence. Gangs are also a symbol of community, and instead of promoting the violence side of it, Kendrick promoted the unity side of it. Everything Drake possibly had was dubbed at this concert. Dave Free was a producer, Whitney was in the crowd cheering with both their kids, but most of all, Kendrick showed Drake that Cali belonging to anybody else in the rap game right now is just a laughable notion. Like I said last video, Drake is gonna be fine, okay? He's not gonna lose a bunch of sales. He still has his core fan base. His dick riders are never gonna leave him. Drake isn't gonna fall off a cliff. Anybody who's saying this is the end of his career is wrong, okay? That doesn't change the fact that this was very, very embarrassing for him. Get More Love in the City That You From is gonna go down as one of the stupidest bars of many stupid bars from this beef.